Or end up as the Steelers QB1, assuming Rodgers is back?
Well, first of all, there is a guy named Will Howard.
Oh my!
I'm just saying, all he did, was lead Ohio State to the national championship while leading the nation in completion percentage, yards, and touchdowns. I'm just saying. And he's 6'4", 235, so he's a big boy too. Just give him a chance, all right? He's in the quarterback room, too.
Yes.
And like McCarthy said, I think he's young, all right? So we'll see. But as far as Allar, I mean, he's a project. I think it was a smart draft pick. Yes. Because he's in Pittsburgh, you want a big guy, right? Because of weather and things like that. He's got a cannon for an arm. I don't know how well he processes. He seems like he has some trouble under pressure. You know, like he's got things to learn, but he's a project that has, as we see so often, the physical tools, the measurables. And so you take a flyer and say, hey, get him with a late round pick. Maybe he can learn some nuances from Aaron, and then let's see if he's our guy. So I think it was a smart pick.
Yeah, so I thought it was a good pick at where they got him,
right?
For sure. And when you're in a position where you don't know what your future is moving forward, you've said this on numerous occasions, you got to keep throwing darts at that position.
Got the third quarterback off the board.
Right.
And to me, when you look at, was it the third or was he the fourth?
Third round.
Oh, sorry.
I want to say he was the fourth.
I think he's the fourth.
My
apologies.
Fourth quarterback off the board. But
early third round pick.
Yes. But when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they're doing, they're preparing for both. They're preparing for Aaron Rodgers. They're preparing for whoever emerges. Will Allen, your guy, which I like. I'm sorry, Will Howard or Drew Allar.
Yeah.
Like, just say, I like this pick because there's a lot of upside. Now, watching him in the Big Ten when it mattered most, he did not show up. You talk about, but I'm not.
Coach fired.
I'm not going to put it all on Allar, though, because
a lot of them put it on Franklin.
In the system, like it wasn't, I don't know if we saw the best version or the style of play that kind of promotes who he can potentially be. Okay. We'll see at the pro level if he even gets that opportunity. He's not the guy starting this year.
Yeah, but there are more examples of third-round raw projects being good as rookies than there are 42-year-olds being good. I have a crazy full screen of all of the 42-year-old week one starting quarterbacks in NFL history other than Tom Brady. That's the full screen. It doesn't exist. No one's ever done it. It's just...
Okay. I mean, this is such a ridiculous take because you're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So, just like Tom Brady changed the trend, so does Aaron Rodgers. And believe me, Tom Brady's longevity is undeniable. So I'm not putting them on the same level. But yeah, man, I do like this pick, and I like where they got Drew Allar. He's an interesting prospect. Yeah, he didn't perform his best under pressure in some of the big games. But some of that, I would put on Franklin. You know, that one game, what was it, against Notre Dame when he threw the interception that essentially lost the game and ruined their chances at a national championship? It was a bad decision and a bad throw, but it was also bad coaching. I remember as soon as I saw that, I thought, why did the coach just put his quarterback in that position? It made no sense to me whatsoever. No sense at all. And then, of course, after that, everything else just kind of fell apart for that program. So, you know, I think it's always good to take a flyer on a guy. I agree with that. But it is weird, though, because they kept saying before, oh, we have a huge amount of belief in Will Howard. And yet, again, I'm all for throwing darts and whatnot, but if you genuinely felt that you already have your quarterback of the future in the building with Will Howard, and you just want him to sit behind Aaron and learn, I don't think you necessarily make this pick either. So it's just a bit of a frustrating situation. And here's the other thing, because what Nick is saying about why you shouldn't have Aaron Rodgers, the team wants Aaron Rodgers. The roster, the players want Aaron Rodgers. Cam could not stop, I almost made a separate video about this, during the draft, he could not stop gushing over Aaron and everything he brings to the table, everything he brings to the offense, how team-centric he is, how great of a leader he is. He could not say anything nicer because he was reaching the maximum. I mean, he is one of the most respectable players in the NFL. Talk about guys who could have podcasts and be on TV after their NFL careers are over. There are a lot of guys where I'm just kind of like, I don't really care what you have to say. Or, yeah, you say a lot of generic stuff, or you're trying to be the next person who says the things no one else is willing to say. I speak the truth. But Cam is just honest, genuine, grounded, hyper-intelligent, has been in the NFL for a really long time, and has obviously succeeded at the highest level. He's not playing any games. He's being honest and genuine. And that's the type of person you listen to. Someone who's not trying to have a hot take, someone who's not trying to be manipulative or get clicks or whatever it may be. He's just saying, no, this is the reality of the situation. I'm just relaying what I'm seeing. I'm just relaying what I'm experiencing. So that goes a long way. I don't know what the exact hang-up is with the Steelers. What the situation is, what the story is. I think it's money. I think that's what it is. It hasn't been reported loudly, but that's what it's perceived as. And again, I did a whole breakdown of the salary cap and the situation, and the Steelers can easily pay Aaron what he's worth without mortgaging the future, without risking anything, without hurting the roster this season, none of that. You're not hurting it next year either. None of that. So the whole hang-up here, the crossroads, is kind of bizarre and pretty frustrating. And this is what I said before, if you think Drew Allar is good, or Will Howard is good, and you think they genuinely can be your quarterback of the future, you want Aaron Rodgers in the building. So just pay him. Pay him because he is worth his weight in gold to have in the building and to let these guys just sit back and watch. I can't tell you enough how much you learn just by sitting there, or just by standing in a drill line and watching Aaron Rodgers get to work. I've learned so much by being younger and watching older players, just watching how they set the tone, how hard they go in drills, how much they pay attention in meetings and film. You learn so much. So much. Professional football, professional sports as a whole, but especially football, is so fascinating because you really are essentially a kid for life throughout your career. Being a rookie is like being a freshman in high school, or a freshman in college. You get to the team, you feel comfortable. You see a lot of the other guys who are already there, they're older. You see that they're already bigger and stronger than you because they're older. They just understand how this whole thing works, and you're just kind of watching them, following what they're doing. The NFL is still very much like that. And weirdly enough, I was thinking about this, you actually have more control and power over yourself in high school than you do in college or the pros. Because once you're in college and the pros, every single second of your day is already set up and scheduled. You stay a kid. When you hit college and you're not playing ball, you can kind of do whatever you want. You can eat when you want, sleep when you want, party when you want, go to another school on weekends to have fun, meet your friends, whatever. But when you're playing for a program, football, baseball, basketball, whatever, no, man, you are being controlled. You have to essentially ask permission for everything. Everything is scheduled and set up. It is not the same. And then once you hit the pros, same thing. Same thing. So maybe some of you guys didn't play sports at a high level or never played in college or whatever, you don't know what it's like to go to high school in 9th grade or 10th grade and be like, whoa. What is this? What do we do with our lockers? Where do we go? How do we do this? There's homeroom and you see the other kids. How do you handle gym class? You look around and you're Lee. Cool, what's the story here? It's very similar to that when you're playing. Even when you're a professional football player. Even if you get drafted in the first round and get a $50 million signing bonus. I'm telling you, these guys stay kids forever. That's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So at the very minimum, just having Aaron Rodgers in the building, if you believe in Drew Allar or Will Howard, goes such a long way. And once you pay Aaron, you're not at the mercy of him. You're paying him. You owe him nothing. If he's not good enough, you can bench him and throw in whatever quarterback you want. That's the deal. But if you don't pay him a lot of money, and you give him a huge discount, then it's under the pretense of, yeah, man, I'm playing. I'm here to finish out my final season. You're not benching me week 12, no matter how bad it gets. This is my final season. This is what's going on. You're not paying me my worth, etc., etc. So, I don't know. It's like 1 minute I love what the Steelers are doing. The next minute I'm like, what the heck are you doing? But this conversation continues to seem stupid to me. It really does. And it's us, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, the conversation itself does not move the needle for me. And it doesn't move the needle publicly either. I can't believe they're still talking about this. That they still think this is worthwhile. I'd rather talk about the Eagles, the Raiders, the Bears. There are so many more interesting things that have happened throughout the draft process than could Allar take QB1 from Aaron Rodgers? Ooh, I don't know. Can he? Ooh, I don't know. I don't care. And you know what? Pittsburgh Steelers fans don't care either. How do I know that? Because they barely comment, they barely watch. I look at the comment sections of other posts, not even just my own, and I see that not many Steelers fans are talking about it. They seem pretty disinterested as well. And you know what? I lived in Pittsburgh. They love football. They want to win. They want to be competitive. They want to get after it. So again, don't even blame Aaron Rodgers for this. This isn't even like, well, this is what you get with Aaron. Don't blame Aaron. Aaron's not to blame. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers? How do you feel about how the draft unfolded? How do you feel about the quarterback controversy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.